Hello, children. I am Shobha. Today, let's learn about an amusing story from 10th class, second unit, C reading. The theme is wit and humor. Children, humor means comedy or fun. In the same way, wit also means humor, but it's intelligent comedy or quick understanding. So, we are going to study the story The Brave Potter, written by Margaret C. This story is a very amusing one. I assure you that you'll definitely love and enjoy it. Now, let's know about the author.
Now let's know about the author. Margaret C. was a great storyteller. He was very much interested in telling folk and mythological stories of Asia. He traveled across many Asian countries and collected short stories from various countries and published them in English. He translated many famous Indian folk stories into English. The present short story, The Brave Potter, is a very popular Telugu one collected by him here. Children, you will be amused that I too heard this story from my mom when I was a kid. So it will be very entertaining. But before going into the lesson, let's go into the glossary, the new words which we come across. Lesson, okay? Blinding, very bright. Thatched, covered with dried straw. Nod off, fall asleep. Palm wine, toddy or fermented palm juice drunk by village folk. See, the person is extracting from the tree. Muttered, spoke something that cannot be heard. Your Majesty, way of addressing a king or a queen. Saddle, a leather seat for a rider on a horse. You can observe on the horse, see the seating place. Stirrups, metal rings that hang down on each side of a horse saddle used to support the rider's foot. To support the rider's foot, the steel one, the metal one. Pawing, touching something repeatedly with paw. Hooves, the hard parts of the feet of some animals like horses. Hooves is the plural form of hoof. Crashing, falling. Reins, long leather bands held by a horse rider to control it. Sentry, guard or a soldier whose job is to guard something. Uprooted, pulled a tree or a plant out of the ground. Cheering crowds, a large gathering of people shouting in joy. Okay, let's go into the lesson. It was dark. Thick black clouds covered the evening sky. The thunder roared and the strong wind shook the branches and leaves of the trees in the forest. Pit, pat, pit. Drops of rain fell. Then the lightning flashed and split the black sky with its blinding light. Soon it was raining heavily. It was dark, cloud with black clouds, and it started raining. An old tiger ran through the rain looking for shelter. He was wet and cold, and his cave was far away. While hurrying to his shelter, he saw an old hut. With a sigh of relief, the tiger crawled under the thatched roof and lay down by the door. Except for the sound of the rain, all was quiet. Before he could nod off, however, he heard something heavy being dragged inside the hut. This was followed by the voice of a woman. So the tiger, it was an old tiger, it was running through the rain and its cave was far away. So for shelter it was looking when it found an old hut. With a sigh of relief, when we see something, when we are relieved, we sigh of relief. So in the same manner, the tiger was relieved and it crawled under the thatched roof and lay down by the door. So it was all quiet, only the rain sound was there. So before he could nod off, before he could fall asleep, however, he heard something being dragged inside the hut, and a woman's voice also he heard. Oh, how terrible this leak is, she complained. How terrible! I would rather meet a tiger in the forest than have this leak house. A leak? The tiger thought. What is a leak? It must be very dangerous and strong, or the woman would not be more frightened of the leak than of me. Am I not rightly called the king of the forest? Aren't they all afraid of me? I wonder what a leak looks like. So the tiger was very much wondering what a leak is. Is that so dangerous than me? Am I not called the king? Soon afterwards, the tiger fell asleep. He was suddenly awakened by an angry voice shouting in his ear. He felt heavy blows fall upon his head and shoulders. So, before the tiger fell asleep, he was suddenly awakened by an angry voice shouting in his ear, and heavy blows means someone was beating it on his head and shoulders. You horrible beast! A voice screamed angrily. How dare you run away? How dare you make me walk about in the middle of the night trying to find you? Be careful. One of these days I'll kill you. Now go home. So the creature was cursing the tiger and beating and scolding him. And what he was saying? I'll kill you. Now go home. It ordered. The old tiger shivered. This must be the leak who has come out of the hut. I'd better do as he says or he'll kill me. So the tiger was shivering. Okay, it was shivering of fear. And what it was thinking, this must be the leak who is beating me. So I must listen to him and follow him, or else he will kill me. So the tiger allowed himself to be bound around the neck with a thick rope. The mischievous creature then climbed onto the tiger's back and pulled at the rope. Come on.
Head for home, shouted the voice. The tiger felt a sharp kick on his side. The tiger was terrified and he ran through the dark forest. The creature pulled hard on the rope to tell him which way to go. At the same time, it scolded, cursed, and kicked the poor tiger. Soon they stopped in front of a small hut on the edge of the thick forest. The creature climbed down from the tiger's back and bound him with an iron chain to a nearby tree. Then he went on into the hut. The tiger could not free himself from the chain, so he had to spend a miserable night under the tree. Who was this creature who was able to capture such a large and dangerous tiger? Let's find out. So, when the creature got onto the tiger, it said, head for home. And the creature also kicked the tiger and it kicked, cursed. So, soon they stopped in front of a small hut on the edge of the thick forest. The creature now climbed down and bound the tiger with an iron chain to a nearby tree. Then he went on into the hut. The tiger could not free himself because it was a chain. He had to spend the whole night miserably under the tree. Now let's know who was this creature who was able to capture such a large and dangerous tiger. On the afternoon of that day, a potter had arrived home after a hard day's work. He was tired and thirsty. He had asked his wife for some palm wine. The more he drank, the better he felt. When he had drunk all the wine, he no longer felt tired. When the storm began, the potter suddenly remembered that he had left his donkey tied under a tree. He rushed out of his hut to take the animal into the stable. You can imagine his anger when he discovered that the donkey was not there anymore. The only thing left was its chain. So, children, that afternoon the potter had arrived home after a hard day's work. As he was tired and thirsty, he asked his wife for some palm wine. So when he drank it, he felt better. But suddenly, after drinking, when the storm began, he remembered that he left his donkey under a tree in the forest. So he rushed out of his hut to take the animal into the stable. Stable is the place where the animals are tied. So now you can imagine, children, how angry he must be with the donkey. My stupid donkey must have run off into the forest, he grumbled. When I catch him, I'll give him a good beating. So he was cursing the donkey, that stupid donkey. When I find it, I'll give him a good beating. The potter walked through the wet forest. When it became dark, he often stumbled over roots and fallen branches. With each step, the potter felt angrier and angrier with his donkey. So the potter had to walk through the wet forest. Since it was raining heavily, the forest was wet, and also it was dark. So he stumbled over, means he fell over some roots and fallen branches. With each step, the potter's anger grew much.
When I catch him, I'll tie him up under the tree all night, he muttered to himself. So the potter muttered, I'll tie him up under the tree all night. Outside only he was thinking. Hours later, the potter reached the old woman's hut. There he saw an animal sleeping in front of the door. So children, hours after some hours, the potter reached the old woman's hut where the tiger was sleeping. So there he is, he shouted. There he is, the stupid animal. The drunken potter did not notice the difference between the donkey and a tiger. He kicked and bit the sleeping tiger. He then jumped onto the frightened animal's back, rode it home, and then tied it up with a iron chain. So, as the potter was drunken and it was night, so he couldn't notice the difference between his donkey or tiger. So, thinking that the tiger was only his donkey, he rode that animal to his house.
Next morning, the villagers who passed the potter's house looked in amazement at the tiger tied to the tree. Soon the news spread throughout the village that the potter had caught a tiger and tied it to a tree in his yard. All the villagers praised his courage. They also thanked him because the tiger had eaten many of their goats and buffaloes. They had tried to catch him for many years but had failed. Of course, the potter said that he had done nothing of the sort. He said that he had only brought his donkey home. He did not understand how a donkey could change into a tiger. When he saw the tiger, he fainted. So, children, the potter who bought the tiger, before day, he tied it to his tree, thinking that it was his donkey. So the next day, when the villagers saw the tiger tied to the tree, they were amazed. So, and everyone praised his courage, that the potter was very brave. And also, they thanked him because the tiger had eaten many of their goats and buffaloes. They had tried to kill it but failed. Now, but the potter, what he said, I did nothing. Everyone, I only brought my donkey home. And he was also wondering how a donkey could change into a tiger. And when he saw the tiger, he fainted. He felt unconscious. Nobody, however, believed the potter's story. The villagers even praised him for being modest. Soon, the potter became famous. Everybody who met him called him the brave potter. The simple potter himself never understood why. So, everyone from then onwards, everyone called the potter as the brave potter. And whoever met him, they used to call him the brave potter only. But the simple potter, he never understood how he had become the brave potter. A few years later, war broke out between the potter's country and a much stronger neighbor. The king immediately gathered a large army, but he realized that it was not strong enough to save his country from defeat. He needed a hero to lead his army. Where could he find such a brave man? The king hurriedly called his ministers together and asked their advice. So, in that country, only a few years later, in the potter's country, a war broke. So, when the war broke, the king immediately gathered a large army and he wanted to save his country because the other country, which was enemy to them, it was strong. But these people were not strong. So, he needed a hero to lead his army. So, he inquired, where will we get such a brave man in our country? So, he called all his ministers and took their advice. One of the ministers remembered the story of the brave potter. So, from that, ministers who were called by the king remembered the story of the potter. He also remembered the brave potter. So, Your Majesty, the minister said, I know someone who can lead our army. So, he told the king that he knew someone who can lead their army. The king immediately sent a messenger to the potter's house. When the potter realized that he had been made general of the army, he became frightened. The king had ordered him to go to the palace the next day. How could he, a poor ignorant potter, become the general of the army? He had never carried a sword, nor had he ever ridden a horse. So, when the king sent a messenger to the potter's house that the potter, you have become the general of the army and you have to lead our army into the enemy's camp. So the potter was very much frightened. He was shivering because he was an ignorant person and he was not at all brave. He was a coward actually. But now he became the general of the army. He never carried a sword and he had never ridden a horse. Oh, I shall die because of that stupid donkey, groaned the potter to his wife. He has only brought us trouble. So now again he started cursing his donkey because of this donkey only now he had to lead the army. And the next day he went with his wife to the capital. The king was pleased to see him and ordered the potter to lead the army into battle the next day. The enemy were not far from the gates of the city. A splendid house had been prepared for the potter and his wife. The horse which would carry him into battle was ready in the stable. A splendid house had been prepared for the potter and his wife. The horse which would carry him into battle was ready in the stable. So, as per the order of the king, it was said the potter had to return to the capital. A splendid house was also being prepared for the potter and the wife. That night, the potter could not sleep. He was nervous and worried because he did not know how to ride a horse. So, actually, this person doesn't know how to ride a horse. He had never rode a horse. So, he couldn't sleep because he was nervous, tensed. He was much tensed. If I fall off, everybody will laugh at me, he thought. I will get up very early tomorrow and practice riding the horse. Oh, what he thought. So, early morning tomorrow, I'll get up and practice riding the horse. Because if he falls, everyone will laugh now. At dawn, the potter woke up his wife and they went to the stable. They saw the beautiful brown horse ready for its new master. So, the next morning, when they went to the stable, there was a beautiful brown horse ready for him. Oh, how tall he is, sighed the potter. I shall never be able to climb onto his back. So, what he thought, oh my god, how tall it is, how could I climb it? Put this bench beside him, said his wife, and use it as a step. So, what his wife advised, put this bench and you can use it as a step to get onto the horse. Even with the help of the bench, the potter had much difficulty climbing onto the horse's back. When he was finally seated, he found that the saddle was very slippery. Please tie my feet to the stirrups, dear wife, said the potter. Otherwise, I shall certainly fall off. So, what? When he climbed with much difficulty, he climbed onto the horse, but the saddle, the seat area, that was very much slippery. So, what he said, please, my wife, dear wife, tie the stirrups to my feet so that he won't fall off. His wife found some rope and bound her husband's feet tightly to the stirrups. She then passed the rope underneath the horse and tied the two stirrups together. She also passed a length of rope around the potter's waist and tied him to the saddle. So his wife took some rope and bound her husband's feet tightly to the stirrups to not to fall down. So again she then passed the rope underneath the horse and tied the two stirrups together. Again she passed the length of rope around the potter's waist and tied to the saddle. Now, please tie my hands to his neck, said the potter. Meanwhile, the big brown horse was impatiently pawing his hoofs on the ground. When the potter's wife tried to pass another rope around its neck, the horse suddenly jumped free. It galloped out of the stable with the potter hanging like a sack of rice on its back. Only the ropes kept him from crashing to the ground. The potter held tightly to the horse's neck and prayed to all the gods to save his life. After galloping through the quiet streets, the horse crashed through the city gates and raced across the open fields. It leapt over fences and streams and began to head for the enemy's camp. When the potter realized where they were going, he tried harder than ever to stop the horse. So, children, when she was tying, the horse became impatient and suddenly it started pawing his hoofs and started galloping. It jumped free. So it left the stable with the potter hanging on it like a sack of bag. So only the ropes, with the help of ropes, he was tied to the horse. The potter held tightly to the horse's neck and prayed to all the gods, oh God, please save me. He was praying. But the horse started galloping. It left the quiet streets, crashed across the through the city gates, raced across the open fields, and it leapt over fences and streams and began to head for the enemy's camp. When the potter realized where they were going, he tried harder than ever to stop the horse. He pulled wildly on the reins, but it was no use. The horse galloped on. So, when the potter realized where the horse was going, he tried to stop it, but it was of no use, and the horse galloped on. When they passed a young tree, the potter grabbed a branch, but the horse did not stop. Instead, the tree was pulled out of the ground. A sentry from the enemy camp saw the potter galloping towards the camp with a tree in one hand and his reins in the other. That must be the general who captured a tiger with his bare hands, he thought. Now he has uprooted a tree with only one hand. He is not an ordinary man, he is a giant. Run, run, save yourselves. The famous tiger general is coming at the head of a large army to attack us. He has the strength of a giant. He has uprooted a tree with one hand. So, children, when he was on the horse and the horse was galloping, so he the potter grabbed a branch, but the horse did not stop. So what happened? The horse was galloping and the potter was holding the branch. The tree was uprooted. A sentry from the enemy camp saw the potter galloping towards the camp. So the sentry saw that this person was carrying an uprooted tree in his hand. He was very much frightened. He thought, oh, this must be the general who captured a tiger. So they too have heard of the brave potter. So what they thought, okay, now the general is coming with a tree in his hand. He is not an ordinary man. He is a giant. So he shouted, run, run, all of you, save yourselves. The famous tiger general is coming at the head of a large army. The frightened soldiers fled. Their king was left by himself in his tent. Hurriedly, he wrote a letter begging for peace and apologizing for attacking the country. He left this letter in the tent. Then he jumped on his horse and followed his soldiers. When the potter's brown horse reached the deserted camp, it stopped. With shaking hands, the potter untied his feet and fell to the ground. When he looked around, he was surprised to find the camp empty. He looked in the king's tent and found the letter. The puzzled potter walked back to the city with the letter in his pocket. He went to his wife and gave her the letter. So, children, the frightened soldiers, all of them who saw the potter with an uprooted tree in his one hand, they were very much worried and they hurried out of the camp. So they left their tents and left. So when the king also saw all this, he was only left in his tent. So what he did, he hurriedly wrote a letter that please excuse us for attacking you, and now I don't want the war. So when this person Potter reached the deserted camp, deserted means everyone was left there, no one was there. So he went into the tent and saw the letter. So he took the letter, kept in his pocket, and went on foot. Means by walking, he went to the city. He didn't understand. The puzzled Potter means he didn't understand why everyone is has left this, and also the king is also not there in the enemy camp. He went to his wife and gave the letter to her. Dear wife, he said, never in my life will I ride a horse again. Please take this letter to our king and tell him that the enemy has run away. I am going to bed. His wife ran towards the palace with the letter. When the king read the letter, he was full of praise for his new general. So, Potter gave the letter to his wife, na? So she ran taking the letter to the king, and she told that everyone had ran away and my husband has been very much tired, so he slept. He asked the potter's wife where her husband was. My husband is tired, Your Majesty. The servants have put him to bed, answered the wife respectfully. So the king inquired, where is the potter? You have only come taking the letters. So she said, he was very much tired. So the servant have put him to bed. Let him rest today. Tell him to come tomorrow to receive his reward, the king said. So the king said, okay, let him take rest today and ask him to come to me tomorrow to receive his reward. Why reward? Because he won the war. Okay. Next morning, the potter went to the king's palace. He left the brown horse in the stable and walked to the palace with his wife. The streets were filled with cheering crowds. They had all heard about his brave action. So the next morning, children, the potter was going to the king's palace. He left the brown horse in the stable and he walked because he didn't want to ride. He also didn't know riding. So he was walking with his wife. The streets were filled with cheering crowds. Everyone was cheering. Wow, what a brave potter. So they had all heard about his brave action. Look how humble he is, they said to each other. They were thinking, oh God, he's such a brave person, even though he's so humble, so simple. Any other man would ride to the palace on a horse, but he is walking like an ordinary man. He is truly a humble and brave man. So everyone thinking if the other person was in that place, everyone would he would have gone on the horse only. But see how simple and meek this person is. He is a truly humble and brave person. The king rewarded the potter so well that he did not need to work again. The country was peaceful for the rest of his life, and the potter never rode a horse again. So the king rewarded the potters very much. Means he need not work. Happily he can sit and lead his life. So that much heavily the king rewarded the potter, and the country was also peaceful for the rest of his life. And the potter never rode a horse again. Okay, children, I hope you all have enjoyed this story. Thank you.